Remember when I said I wasn't going to take any more breaks? Sorry. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Zharia, and I typically make commentary videos just like this one. Also, typically, it is every single week, though I've skipped the past 3 weeks due to life circumstances. My dog just got a surgery on both of her back feet because she couldn't walk, or back legs, rather. A lot of things happened in my life, but I'm here right now, and that's all that matters. And today's video is going to be a thick, juicy one. So when I was younger, I had like no friends, right? Like I'm talking, I had -2 friends when I was in elementary school, and most of middle school, I didn't really have any like real, true, deep friends, right? There was this app that I loved called SimSimi. It was like this text spot type of app where it would talk to you about your life, it would talk to you about school. It was like kind of like having a friend that you could just text at any given moment. And that was kind of a version of an AI computer program. A very early, not very early, but an earlier version that was introduced to me when I was that age was SimSimi. There also was that one game, Talking Angela, but Talking Angela was also one of those apps you talk to an AI, you know. My favorite personal AI during this era of text-based talking apps was Akinator. Akinator was this game where you would talk to this genie named Akinator, and he would guess whoever you were trying to get him to guess, you know. So it would be like, at first, I would try to have him guess like Harry Styles, but then that became too easy. So then I started picking obscure anime characters, and then he always got it. And there was one time that I tried tricking him and saying that it was me, and he literally responded and said, "You're talking about yourself." And I was like, oh my God, the computers are going to take over our lives. And well, here we are. All of this to say is that I grew up with artificial intelligence kind of developing. Actually, I remember so I had this dog. It was called a Techna. Me and my sister had one. It was a robot dog before we actually got our actual dog. And his name was Spot. I can put a picture of him on the screen. Not of him, because I don't even know where that dog is anymore, but of the model. You guys can understand, like, this is what we were working with in the 2000s. Like, tiny little robot dogs, because our parents didn't want to take care of a dog, which is reasonable because there was a whole recession situation happening. So while I've been on a hiatus, there have been a lot of videos and people mentioning AI. AI has been developing. We have things such as the metaverse coming into fruition. Well, the metaverse kind of sucks right now, but the concept is a little bit spooky. So this video is about AI, like talking about AI and where it's coming from, where it's going, where it's come from. Cotton Eye Joe. Can you tell that I haven't filmed a video in 3 weeks? I think I forgot how to talk. I didn't know about you guys, but when I was younger, I thought that by the time it was going to be 2020, that we were going to have flying cars and, you know, no one was going to be poor. I was imagining that we would live kind of like the Jetsons or even like Back to the Future type of situation. Like I was kind of having big hopes for what the future was going to hold when I was like, you know, 6 or 7 to like 10 years old. I was like, yeah, the future is going to be bananas. And now instead we got a global pandemic. The wealth gap is so big. It's bigger than what it was in France when they beheaded Miss Queen Elizabeth. Or was it? No, it wasn't Queen Elizabeth. It was Marie Antoinette. She was to let them have bread or brioche. Gal. Wealth gap is bigger than that. There are more people that are poor. There's a whole recession happening. People are struggling to live. You know, all of those things are what we're delighted with today in 2023 as I'm making this video. Throughout my life, personally, I've been seeing so many movies, TV shows, either hint towards how amazing the future is going to be, or talking about how horrifically dystopian it's going to be, and, you know, how horrible life is going to be if we start using technology more and more. And when you think like right now, we don't have a lot of crazy technology. It's a little bit innovative and it's a little bit spooky at times, but it's nothing crazy, you know. I mean, the most we got is like the metaverse. I believe Elon Musk is trying to put chips inside of our heads. There's some other wacky little stuff going on there. Right now, I feel like it's a good idea to just talk about AI and kind of how it's been affecting our lives, how it may affect our lives in the future, and so on and so forth. So first I wanted to talk about what is technically considered AI, or artificial intelligence, which I'm going to be using AI more often because that's kind of what we use as it now, but it is stands for artificial intelligence. So there are a couple of different definitions, and a lot of them barely make sense unless you're like a really smart person, which I happen to be medium smart. Like I can say some profound things, but oftentimes all of my knowledge comes from Google and those random textbooks that you can't even see them. I have a lot of my textbooks on my bookcase up top. That's where all my knowledge comes from. Also, all of the ones that I may or may not have illegally downloaded during my time in undergrad. We don't, it is what it is. The Oxford definition of AI is the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision making, and translation between languages. For the sake of this video, I'm sure you probably can kind of understand what that means if you broke it down step by step, but we're going to use a dumbed down version of this definition to work with for the rest of this video. AI is, in a way, a simulation of human intelligence. And not in the sense of like an average day, everyday human, like a person, a very, very smart person. This is kind of a simulation of that. So it's not a person, though you can make the argument that some AI is sentient, but we're not going to, we may discuss it later, but for right now, it's a simulation of human intelligence. And this human intelligence is, manufactured by machines, especially computer systems. I did want to mention some examples of different types of AI because we use AI literally all of the time. Like quite literally, you're using AI right now. Actually, watching this video right now, you're on YouTube. And YouTube is an algorithm. An algorithm is AI. But either way, some examples of AI would be GPS, facial recognition software. So if you have an iPhone and you use your Face ID, that is AI. We have autocorrect as well. That is an AI doing predictive guessing on what you're trying to say. Literally every algorithm ever is also AI. The CPU in video games, back when we used to play our V Smile Alphabet Park, if you remember, you remember. Such a great show. If you have a V Smile, comment down below. I want my V Smile back so bad. That doesn't matter. That's not the point of the video. Another example would be Chrome extensions. So think of like, this isn't a sponsorship, but think of like Honey, Grammarly, Speechify. Any of those type of Chrome extensions are also AI. Search engines, the most AI of AIs. Obviously, smart home devices, streaming platforms. Again, any algorithm, it's going to be an AI type of situation. If you have a car that has safety features, so not like a Tesla. Tesla is obviously an AI, but if you have a car, like I have a Honda Civic, it's a great car. I love it very much. My car has safety features, so it has like lane keep assist. It has automatic braking. If I'm too close to a car, my car will stop me before I hit it. Basically, assisted cruise control and a whole bunch of other little features. All of that is considered AI. So basically, all of this little section is to say that everything in your life is AI, and that is why it is so important to understand how these tiny little machines made by people kind of run our entire lives. AI came from a workshop at Dartmouth College in 1956. Yes, AI is literally that old. The attendees that were there became essentially the founders of artificial intelligence, and they and their students made programs that were kind of revolutionary and were pretty astonishing, and they now base that research then on what we use now. And then obviously by the 1960s, that was when the United States government became involved and the Department of Defense decided to use AI for, nefarious war purposes. Though while AI has been developing for a relatively long time, in the past couple of decades, it really, Jack Clark from Bloomberg said in 2015 that was a landmark year for artificial intelligence. He says that with the number of software projects that use AI within Google, it increased from sporadic usage in 2012 to more than 2,700 projects. The reason why this happened is because there was an increase of affordability and able to use this type of software. Due to a rise in cloud computing infrastructure. Don't ask me what that means because I literally have no idea what that means. And an increase to research tools and databases. So in a 27 survey, about 1 in 5 companies admitted that they used AI in some part of their company. So the amount of AI being used increased by 50% between 2015 and 2019. Obviously, it's 2023 right now, so AI has skyrocketed so much. Our world is kind of run by AI at this point, and I do wonder, like, if an apocalypse happened, like, for instance, like Last of Us, hypothetically. I'm trying to imagine, like, if somebody were to, like, try to, like, navigate, like, if they knew that the CDC was in Atlanta, Georgia, how would they get there? Like, would they even know how to use a map to, like, drive all the way there? I don't know. It's like one of those stupid little things that I think about from time to time. Well, that is what AI is. That's a general basis of what we're going to be talking about today. And now I want to get into the good. So I try to see the good in most things that I talk about. If you're a long time subscriber of my channel, you know that I like to have the benefit of the doubt in different things, like in different topics. Try to look for the good in things because that's the only way that I can make sense of the world that we're in right now. Because if I think everything is bad, then I'm just gonna doom scroll and crawl into a hole and never come out. So I wanted to highlight the good things of AI, which there are a lot of good things, to come from this. I mean, for instance, I'm on YouTube right now. You're watching me. I appreciate that. Without AI, no one would be listening to me right now at all. Now, something that I wanted to try out, which is something that also boomed in popularity during my absence online, was Chat GBT.
So for this entire video, and yes, I mean this entire video, I say chat GBT, but it's actually chat GPT. I don't really know how I made that mistake, but the first step is admitting you have a problem. So there you go.
Now, ChatGPT is pretty interesting because it's OpenAI, so you can just type on your little computer, and you can type in, something like "Tell me how to solve for this problem," right? And so for the sake of this video, now I would not do this ordinarily, and I think of all my video ideas and I do all my research and whatnot because I try really hard. Since this video is about AI, we're gonna have a little bit of an AI element in this video. Um, so for each of the sections, I actually asked ChatGPT to give me their thoughts. I say their, like it's a person. I asked for ChatGPT's opinions and what they would say is the good about AI. Obviously, ChatGPT has motivation to tell me more good than bad because it literally is AI. But I typed into ChatGPT, write me a video essay script about the good things about AI. And this is what it said. Virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant. These digital helpers use natural language processing and machine learning algorithms to understand and respond to our commands, making our lives more convenient and efficient. They also mention in the medical field, AI is revolutionizing the way doctors diagnose and treat diseases. By analyzing vast amounts of data, AI-powered devices can quickly identify patterns and abnormalities the human doctors might miss, leading to more accurate diagnoses and more effective treatments. We're going to put a pin in that because we're going to mention that later on in the bad part as well, but pretty good on a base level. Translation apps like Google Translate and Microsoft Translator use machine learning algorithms to translate languages in real time, breaking down language barriers and fostering great understanding and empathy between people. One of the most exciting applications of AI is in the field of transportation. Self-driving cars and trucks are no longer science fiction. They are here and will soon be a common sight on our roads. AI-powered vehicles will reduce traffic accidents, save time and money, and even reduce our carbon footprint. Now, we're going to deviate away from the script really quick because I love the concept of self-driving cars. I personally really want an electric car because I would like to believe that I'm saving the planet, though I know that whatever I do is going to be nothing in comparison to people like Taylor Swift and Kylie Jenner, or really any big celebrity that likes to be on private jets every 2 business days. It's not going to, my little footprint isn't going to change that much, but I feel like it might. So I wanted not self-driving car. I want an electric car. But when you think about Teslas kind of suck and they blow up all the time. But think about it think about it really quickly right now. Just speed fire. Imagine a self-driving car having to solve the trolley problem. The trolley problem being you have one person on one track. Then you have 3 people on another track would you rather kill? Would you rather redirect the trolley to hit the one person or to hit the 3 people? You can add different layers, like the one person is someone that you know, like your mom. One of them can be a kid versus the other one can be like old people. There's a lot of different layers, but I want to see a Tesla solve that. I just want to see it because that would, kind of highlight how wacky this whole AI thing is. But finally, ChatGPT mentions AI is helping us make smarter financial decisions. From personalized investment advice to fraud detection, AI powered financial apps are giving us more control over our finances and making it easier to manage our money. So, from that, I will say that AI is pretty great in theory. I mean, I love being a Gen Z gal and being able to experience all the AI things that I can. I mean, I couldn't even imagine even being alive in the 70s if I was a different race. Because, like, what would I do? Like, I understand why they were talking about having, like, all this free love and stuff like that because they had literally nothing to do but stare at the wall or go to war. But the fact that everything that we have at our fingertips is a very unique and, privileged thing, to have. There are a lot of things that, for instance, like I know how to read a map because that was how I was taught that in like 3rd grade, I want to say. I will say, learn how to read a map because you never know a situation you're going to get yourself in. And there are some people that I knew in high school, they didn't even know how to get to the next city over without looking at their GPS, which is kind of scary. But I don't think that AI from a baseline is something that is bad. Like, I think that it is only made bad due to the people that are making it and what they're doing with it, which is why a lot of the good for AI can bleed into our other categories that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Now we're going to get into the bad of AI. Now, the bad isn't necessarily the worst. We're saving that for dystopian. This is just things that are slightly something to think about. Something that is a little bit either whether it's janky, like it needs some more development, or it's just outright racist, homophobic. Not very ideal. This is the bad section. So let's get into it. So, like I mentioned before, I asked ChatGPT what the vibe was. And for this one, it's interesting because it gave me 5 bullet points, whereas the other one, it just gave me like more episodic type of response. This was giving me like 5 bullet points, problems, and all that stuff. And I asked, what are the problems with AI? First, we have bias and discrimination. That's what it identified, and it said, one of the biggest problems with AI is that it can perpetuate and amplify existing biases. This is because AI systems are trained on large data sets, which may contain historical biases and discriminatory practices. These biases can then be reflected in results generated by AI systems, leading to unfair and discriminatory outcomes. This is something that I actually learned about in my school when I was in college. Is that there was this one specific instance of racism, not even racism, just bias. So if you're black, like me, even if you're darker or lighter in some cases, have you ever tried to wash your hands with like an automatic soap dispenser, and for the life of you, you cannot get it to dispense into your hand? It's because of the person who made the software for dispensing hand soaps and dispensing water. The way that they know that a hand is there is if the light reflects back onto the little sensor. But the thing about that is if you are a dark person, nothing is reflecting back of anything. Therefore, you led to people not being able to wash their hands, something that should be considered a basic human right. That was because there was not a single black person on that entire team of people who made that little program. And that is a base program that they now use for most things that are automatic hand washing and things like that, which is why you run into these issues. People are working to fix it, but as of right now, it's not every single sink situation. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is lack of accountability. Another major issue with AI is the lack of accountability. In many cases, it is difficult to determine who is responsible when things go wrong with AI systems. The lack of accountability can lead to a lack of trust in AI and can also result in unintended consequences. This one, I'm not really sure because I will say that like typically AI can be traced to one person or one small team of people. But I will say, when we get into the era of AI making AI making AI, that's kind of where I can see it getting a little bit fuzzy as to where who's accountable for something being messed up, like the hand washing situation. Problem three is job loss. This is one of the things that I am most concerned about as a working class person. But it says AI has the potential to automate many tasks that were once performed by humans, leading to job loss. While this may seem like a positive development in terms of increased efficiency, it can have a negative impact on the economy and on individuals who are displaced from their jobs. Currently, I am a barista. I make drinks. That is my vibe. Well, I'm a manager, but I'm a barista. That's what I do. I make drinks. There are robot baristas. Seeing robots do even like the fact of like the assembly line, often there are people who still do, contribute to that, and they still, put the parts together. But a lot of stuff is being turned into just having machines do it because it costs less in the long run. You can just, pay for that one machine once, and then they have an infinite worker, and all they pay for is like maintenance every now and then. So it's kind of scary, a little bit dystopian, that our jobs could be replaced by tiny little robots, and only people who will be employed are those whose job is to fix the robots until the robots learn how to fix themselves. It's something to think about. Also, it has security concerns written on here. It says AI systems can be vulnerable to hacking and other forms of cyber attacks. This is especially concerning, such as in healthcare or national security. A security breach in such systems could have serious consequences, such as like Ring cameras. Think about the amount of people who have horror stories of like strangers talking to their babies through a Ring camera because they hack into it. I'm not saying Amazon has like the most tight knit security ever, but just think about it. That's something that is pretty bad. Though I wouldn't necessarily categorize it as dystopian because it's something that can be fixed. It just needs to get fixed faster. Next and lastly, it has ethical concerns written on there. It says AI raises the number of ethical concerns. For example, it is unclear how AI should be used to make decisions that affect people's lives. Additionally, the increasing use of AI in areas such as surveillance raises concerns about privacy and potential for abuse. Now, for me, a lot of AI can be fixed. Things like a lot of stuff that I mentioned in this can be fixed through more research and development and stuff like that. But even with algorithms, like with YouTube, right? I have discovered and I've learned that algorithms such as YouTube, or really even TikTok, depending on what side of TikTok you're on, because TikTok is more tailored to like individuals, whereas YouTube tailors to like groups of people. And I will find that YouTube's algorithm, and it's not like, I don't know who to blame, I don't know who to slap, but basically they have a really hard time pushing Black creators on the homepage or suggesting that content to people unless they're already watching a Black creator, especially if there's a Black creator that's in the thumbnail. If you were a Black creator, and let's say you wanted to have your video go viral, just don't put yourself in your thumbnail and just put like a random thumbnail that, and I feel like chances are your video is going to do a lot better versus if you had yourself in your thumbnail, which is really depressing. Another thing about the bad, I use ChatGPT as a little bit of a joke for this video. Like, I'm obviously not going to use ChatGPT in my day-to-day life. I don't really need to. But the fact that people can use ChatGPT to write entire articles, to, do their job for them, essentially, if they're like a writer, people's homework for them, write people's essays, that breaks a line of like, when you're in school and you're learning, you can just type into ChatGPT something about the topic that you're learning. And then bada bing, bada boom, now you have a paper and you don't have to worry about it. And it's like, let's slow down. That's a little bit messed up, like ethically, morally, a lot of things wrong with that right there. The future of education may be drastically changed. I mean, people are still obviously have to learn, but imagine like we're like the people from Wall-E where all we do is just lay around all day and like eat, drink food through a straw, and don't do anything. Like, I mean, that sounds like a dream, but in reality, that's very scary to think about. But I do wonder how education is going to change with the introduction to AI. I mean, a lot of schools are transitioning to using iPads or school laptops to educate students. But I mean, also to be fair, right now, and I mean right now as I'm recording this video, there is currently a proposed bill to get rid of the Department of Education. I'm not kidding. You can look that up. Like, literally open up another tab, look it up right now. Literally, there is a bill right now to abolish the Department of Education. That's dystopian within itself. Doesn't have to do anything with AI. That's just people being people. But lastly for this section, I wanted to address one thing that I've kind of been avoiding, and I have other YouTube creator pals that have made videos on it, like Gabby Bell made an amazing Chef's Kiss video on AI art. You should check it out after my video. Do not click off because I will find you and cry. But Gabby made a video on AI art and kind of the ethics and all that stuff when that app Lensa became popular. I never used it because I wanted to use it, but I saw it was $8 and I was like, I'm not paying that just for some pictures. But I think that AI can never truly replace a person. Like, even when it comes to jobs, when it comes to really anything, I don't think the AI can truly replace a human being. There's something about human touch that does kind of transform and change things. I mean, also, we know how people think, we know how people talk. So, like, for instance, when you look at articles written by AI or movies written by AI, it doesn't quite sound right because it's not a person. I think that AI art or AI render, whatever they do, just not going to replace real artists anyways. It may have a couple of gaps, but I do think that in general, when you think about how there are people who freelance on like Fiverr or they have their own, companies or whatever it is, and they are trying to get clients, it's going to be very hard to convince a client to use you when they can just easily go on to a random AI, in the next 5 years, and they can get exactly what they want in a fraction of the time. Like, we're talking like almost instant results type of fraction of the time. But all this to say that when you think about it, if AI starts replacing our jobs and things of that nature, even like fun things like art, that leads us into a dystopian type of situation. So, like I mentioned, ChatGPT once again is coming in clutch for this last section. I asked specifically ChatGPT if AI was becoming dystopian. I framed the questions a little bit differently to kind of try to get different answers, because obviously it is a generated type of thing, so it probably is going to use the same things, just worded differently for each section. So they said the potential for AI to become dystopian is a subject of ongoing debate and concern. While AI has the potential to improve our lives in countless ways, there are also legitimate concerns about its potential negative impacts. One of the key concerns is the potential for AI to exacerbate existing social inequalities, for example, by perpetuating biases and discrimination. This is because AI systems learn from the data they are trained on, and if that data is biased or reflects existing social inequalities, then the AI system may learn and amplify those biases, which I mentioned a little bit ago, but I'll talk more about it later. Another concern is the potential for AI to be misused for harmful purposes, such as autonomous weapons or mass surveillance. There is also the potential for AI to be used to manipulate people's thoughts or behavior, for example, by using targeted advertising or political propaganda. Like, literally, all of 2022 and the whole alpha male movement situation is literally all generated by AI. Not the content, but the pushing of the content and radicalizing young individuals, which I'm going to get into that later as well, but that's another thing that's very dystopian. So it says, overall, while AI has the potential to greatly benefit society, it is important to approach its development and use it with caution to ensure that appropriate safeguards are put in place to mitigate the risk of dystopian outcomes. Can you tell that I cannot read? I am so bad at that. But now I will say that we do kind of approach Black Mirror territory at times, but we're not fully there yet. Obviously, the most dystopian thing in the world is us turning into the Wall-E people, or really even just like any Black Mirror episode. Like, I think about what's the one with the dog? Dog Days? No, I don't think it's that. The Black Mirror episode with the dystopian little robot dogs that were killing children or whatever. That. Or think about Hated by the Nation or Hated by whatever. That one as well. Very, very close to where we are right now. That one is very close to what we're dealing with right now. But if you look at movies like Await Further Instructions, which if you haven't seen that movie, it's a little campy. Like it's not like the best movie ever, but it's something to make you think, which is the type of movies that I like to watch, or ones that make you sit back and think a little bit. AI can turn against us. I haven't seen Megan, but from the trailers, it kind of looks like that's kind of the vibe. She was created and then started to, you know, follow her assignment a little bit too much, and kind of ruin things in the process. For me, my biggest concern as a leftist gal is obviously going to be jobs.
You know what I also just thought about while I'm like editing this video? What about like AI influencers? Like I think Jarvis Johnson made a video on this one like AI rapper type of guy. And obviously there's like so many like AI models that model digital clothing. It's kind of, I don't know what that qualifies as. I'm gonna put it in the dystopian category just because I don't know. But like that's a really interesting thought process. Like influencers that are made like online that are infinite money pits because they can just advertise whatever. And it takes jobs from influencers.
I already kind of am frustrated with the whole system that they have us set up in, anyways. But when you start having basic jobs that already pay minimum wage, anyways, um, getting replaced by robots, that leads to millions of people losing their jobs. And what are they going to do? Because we're a capitalist society. It's not like they're going to be like, let's help the homeless people. They're just going to let people be homeless and not help them at all. Um, so people who are already underpaid are going to be paid nothing. And that is going to cause a little bit of a problem. So eventually you will have kind of droves of people who are becoming, homeless or unhoused, whatever the situation is. And it's because you were on the wrong side of capitalism. People will say, oh, well, you should have gone to college. I went to college. You should have done XYZ, when in reality, they just mean you should have been born rich. But it's kind of funny because the government puts you in that situation anyways. And like most things in life can be traced back to Ronald Reagan screwing people over for eternity. I think about those cute little Boston Dynamics robots, which I believe is what modeled the dogs in that Black Mirror episode. But if they start hypothetically trying to murder black people just because they learn from police officers who statistically murder more black people, like percentage wise, like the rate at which they murder black people is higher than of which any other race. So that's something. And if the AI robot learns that, then it's going to start just gunning people down. Also, how would the criminal justice system work? There's a lot of layers to that one. Also, when it comes to AI writing articles and things like that, which can be helpful if you are new and you don't know how to format things. But imagine an AI robot learns from, let's say, the Epoch Times, and then decides to say if you decide to ingest Fabuloso, it's going to cause you to be immune to every disease ever. Or something literally outrageous. If you think about it, people can be convinced of the most outrageous things possible if they just read it in an article. Like, do your research. It's the people who say do your research that's research is literally Fox News and Epoch Times and think that that's a reputable source. But also, I want to mention that when it comes to radicalization and AI, I think that it's something to be talked about, and it is something that is a AI issue, not just like a alpha male type of stuff issue, because they were always there in the first place. But thinking about how, like, if you're a young boy, let's say you're 13 years old, you're probably not watching me because my demographic is like 84% female, but you may be there, you may be one of the ones, and you get rejected by your first crush ever. You get really sad, you go home, you think about it a lot, and then you get over her, try to ask somebody else out again, same thing, you get rejected. The average person is going to think, hey, maybe the problem is me. Not in like that type of way, but maybe the approach or whatever. But some people, after this happens multiple times, become bitter and upset. And they think the problem is everybody else. They go into Google and type in something like, why do girls hate me? Or why don't girls like me? and then somehow leads them down a rabbit hole of red pill manosphere. Women are property, women are just nothing, and women are not worth anything besides sexual attraction. Though sexual attraction from a man is literally worth nothing because they are attracted to children, animals, inanimate objects like cars and stuff like that. So valuing things like that, it can derail a young person so much just by a simple Google search. After that one Google search, they see it all over their TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Kids aren't going to be on Facebook anyways, but you kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about. And that's the scary part. That's the dystopian part. And we're literally seeing that right now. There are people who, at the beginning of the pandemic, were neutral. They were perhaps apolitical. And now, by 2023, they're a part of QAnon and they're doing terrorist attacks on pride festivals. In 2 years, 3 years, but still, that is terrifying. That is dystopian. And we're literally living that right now. That's happening right now. People like Sneeko. Andrew Tate is in jail right now, but somehow still has such a huge impact on all these alpha male influencers. Sneeko is being Sneeko. That's the dystopian part, and that's scary. And that's not even about the little robots. That's just about algorithms, which are little robots in a sense, but like not really. But that's the part that's scary about AI is that, at the end of the day, literally an alien can come down right now and decide to kill all of us and use our bodies for research or to make a new alien human population like that episode of American Horror Story. I remember seeing a lot of TV shows today. But it could literally happen before I even finish editing this video and no one's ever going to know what I said. But there are things happening right now with AI that is genuinely terrifying. Like, needs to be stopped. Something needs to be changed. They need to be some sort of safeguards put in place because it's kind of scary. So obviously in a lot of movies, AI going rogue is more often than not. I think it's kind of like people just expect foreign things to act a little bit wonky. I do have a semi theory about the hatred towards AI and how they're making our lives easier, but then they're going to ruin our lives. But that's another thing. I'm not going to put that online because I could be very drastically wrong. But AI can't replace everything. So if you're sitting here at home and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to lose my job in 5 years and I'm going to be, a slave to a robot or whatever, you're probably not going to be a slave to a robot because people are still going to be needed. If climate change doesn't take us out first, which it honestly might, looking at how the world is looking right now, it definitely wouldn't be an Echo Dot, like if we're talking about the revolution, it probably isn't going to be, something like a tiny little robot. Anyways, that was a juicy video, like I mentioned before. But I just wanted to give my final thoughts on the whole AI junk, the good, the bad, the dystopian, or anything that just comes to my mind. So, you know what just thought about actually? So, Iron Man? This is so stupid. So, Iron Man obviously has prosthetics, right? I wonder if there's going to be a development, like, not like how there's prosthetics right now, like people have, like, the robot legs, arms, all that stuff to enhance their, lives when they already are missing limbs. But I wonder if there's going to make, like, extensions onto our bodies, kind of like Iron Man in that way. Like, for instance, I'm thinking about, like, how, in that one Black Mirror episode, this is a very Black Mirror heavy video. But that one episode where they have the camera behind their eyes at all times and they can scroll back and like look at their memories. Or even like the similar season, White Christmas, where the guy literally was blocked by every person in the world. He was just a red blob and he couldn't talk to anybody, which honestly to me is worse than prison. But, I think that's kind of the point, was that it was worse than being in jail. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the Black Mirror creators said that they weren't going to make any more seasons because we're actively living Black Mirror right now, which is kind of spooky. And maybe that wasn't true, but I think that in the world we live in right now, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit dystopian, obviously. I mean, like, with all the train derailments, with hazardous materials, factories catching on fire with hazardous materials, rivers like the Euphrates drying up, Ron DeSantis. I mean, I'm a Floridian, so Ron DeSantis is ruining my entire life I'm so glad I'm not in high school anymore because I would be screwed. I wouldn't learn anything. We have a rise in, mass shootings. We have a rise of just unrest online and around the world. Um, there's still so much work that needs to be done in terms of our lives. And then here we are talking about AI and how it's going to change everything, whether it be for the good or for the worse. It's happening. It's going to do something in our lives. It's going to affect us in some kind of way. I do wonder if AI is really going to be the biggest problem ever, or if it's just people at the end of the day that's going to just ruin humanity. Um, Sounds kind of depressing when I put it like that, but like AI just learns from people. AI may make decisions that a person may not make, like for instance, an AI probably would be more likely to commit like a mass situation, shooting. I'm gonna censor that so many times. I'm annoyed, but an AI probably is more likely to like not hesitate than like a human person. Um, an AI also may be more incentivized after it becomes sentient or knows more to make us dumber. Um, Whatever that may mean. I mean, we use AI for mass weapons, mass destruction. Really, AI can be the literal best thing ever to happen to us or the worst thing to happen to us. And that could be an in between. Right now, it's kind of in the middle. I mean, some days I'm like, wow, I love technology. And other days I'm like, I wish I was Amish and making butter. I mean, I make butter now. That's a fun fact. I like to make butter at times. But yeah, that's kind of it. I guess I don't really have anything else to say. I'm just kind of like hoping for the best in the world. Also, I hope you guys enjoy the longer video. I tried to make it a little bit juicy since I skipped a couple of weeks. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Let me know your opinions on AI. Do you think the AI is going to be the best part of our world, or do you think it's going to cause us to go into ruin? I'd love to know your thoughts on that. I just spent thousands of dollars on my dog's surgery. So if you want to subscribe to me, so I can do YouTube full time, that would be great. No pressure though. Seriously, you can watch me and not subscribe to me. That's also fine. But I prefer it because that makes me feel a little bit better on the inside. I feel like I don't have anything else to say. Yeah, I guess not really. But yeah, like I said, leave down your comments about AI. I really want to know. This is gonna be maybe I might make a part two depending on what you guys say from this video in the comments down below. But all that to say is that I really do hope you guys enjoyed my video. Please like it. That would be so great for me because, as I mentioned before, algorithms can be very, very racist. So if you want to like this video or comment on it, share it, because YouTube probably wouldn't want to push this video out to other people because I'm black. I'm also talking trash about it in a way because I'm talking bad about AI. Um, but yeah, so please do that. I would really appreciate it. I'm really close, not really close. I'm like a lot of hundreds away, but I'm close to 10,000 subscribers. Now is my goal for the end of the year was hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm already so close. So if you guys can subscribe, that would be great. Very lovely, very nice, fun, funky, and fresh. I'll be going back to posting every week unless something else tragic happens in my life, because at this point, it's as though my life is just what's it called? A pendulum, just going back and forth. But either way, that's it. I'm gonna stop talking because I will keep on talking forever. So bye.